If you or someone that you care about has high blood pressure and you would like an effective drug-free solution to bring it down to normal, then you're going to want to watch this video all the way through to the end. We're going to put to the test the practice of resonance frequency breathing. And this is a wonderful breathing practice with some rather remarkable benefits for the mind and body. And here we're going to see if a few minutes of practice can help someone with some very high blood pressure to gently bring it back down. And whether you have hypertension or not, you're gonna maybe also want to follow along and experience this practice for yourself because it feels amazing and there are a lot of benefits happening in the background. So let's begin. Breath yoga is the combination of breathwork and yoga to bring about an experience of breath and energy freedom. I am Adrian Cox, and on this channel I share practices and knowledge about the body, breathing, and mindset to help you to awaken, to heal, and to get more strength and energy. If this is something that you want more of in your life, then please subscribe to this channel to help us grow. And if you like today's content, then if you can at some point in the video, please hit like, and that would help us out a lot. Thanks so much. Blood pressure is one measure of tension in the body. Specifically, it's the pressure that the blood exerts on the walls of the arteries. And when it is too high, then the arteries are not open enough to allow the blood to flow down, so that the heart has to use more force. This can result in a heart attack, heart disease, kidney disease, or stroke. And unfortunately, it's all too common because heart attacks are the #1 cause of death in the United States. Blood pressure, it's measured with two numbers written one over the other, such as 120/80. The top number indicates the systolic pressure, or the force of the blood that is present when the heart beats and is pushing against arterial walls. This shows the sympathetic nerve system in action. The bottom number shows the diastolic blood pressure, or the force that's present when the heart is resting between the beats. This shows the parasympathetic nerve system in action. Both numbers are important in monitoring heart health. Normal would be around 120/80, although you would want to check it several times to make sure because it can fluctuate depending on things like how much espresso you've had that morning. However, if over time you start to push towards 130/80 and above, then you're gonna wanna pay more attention because many healthcare professionals will diagnose a consistent measurement of 130/80 as just being too high for good health. So 130/80 or above, right? And few people know that your heart and blood pressure respond to breathing. Just the way that our breathing oscillates between the inhale and the exhale, our blood pressure also oscillates between high and low. And same with the heart. When we breathe in, the heart speeds up. This is so that we pump the oxygen-rich blood through the arteries. As the heart rate speeds up, the blood pressure will go down. So the passageway is ideally more open to allow that blood to flow through. And the same is true in reverse. When you exhale, the heart rate slows down and the blood pressure increases. And you might be able to feel it if you even put your finger onto your pulse and you get real quiet. When you breathe in, you can feel very subtly that the heart rate will be speeding up, and when you breathe out, that the heart rate will be slowing down. So there is this relationship between the breath, the heart, and the blood pressure, and the speeding up and the slowing down of the heart and the opening and the closing of the blood vessels happens because our nervous system is oscillating between two modes, the sympathetic or the fight-flight system and the parasympathetic or the rest and digest side. The sympathetic nerve system is what speeds up your heart rate when you inhale. it's the side of our functioning that kicks in when we are responding to stress. That is, if you need to run from a predator or fight an opponent, or also when you need to get active for exercises and start to run or start to lift weights. That side of the nervous system is what gets you into action, and it speeds up the heart rate, speeds up the breathing, dilates the pupils and all that. On the other side of the nervous system is the parasympathetic, or it's the rest and digest function, and this causes our heart rate to slow down. And so when we exhale, the heart rate slows down and our blood vessels dilate. This is causing a reduction of blood pressure when we breathe out. And this happens because the parasympathetic nervous system is kicking into gear. And so we oscillate between the sympathetic side, the parasympathetic side, the activation side, and the relaxing side. And all these systems are working together in a kind of a synchronicity, or the harmony with the breath, ideally. Now, if you are in a state of chronic mentally created stress, and the sympathetic nerve system keeps us in a higher state of constriction and tension, and then the rest and digest function kind of becomes like a faulty network cable. It just can't put on the brakes because it goes out of commission. And the sympathetic side steals the show and doesn't let the parasympathetic do its job. And over time, with high stress, that heightened tension, this can lead to higher blood pressure. Resonance rate breathing, or resonance frequency breathing, is this method of breathing smoothly in and smoothly out at a rate of around 5 to 6 breaths per minute. And what this does is it allows enough time for the relaxation function to begin to kick in, so that when you exhale, when you're breathing in the resonance rate, your heart rate will slow down even more before speeding up again on the inhalation. And it's this variability between the highest speed that your heart rate is beating at the top of your inhale and the slowest rate that's happening at the bottom of the exhale. And heart rate variability, this variability between the high and the low, is a really good indicator of your health. In fact, it's one of the best measures that scientists have to measure a person's overall state of health and resilience against stress. By breathing in this pattern and bringing your heart rate, your breath, your blood pressure, and your nerve system all into resonance with each other, then the heart rate will speed up exactly in time with the inhale, and it will start to slow down exactly in time with the exhale. The blood pressure will respond in a perfect relationship, perfect phase relationship with the heart, and the nervous system will start to move back and forth between these two modes more effectively. And this is a state of resonance in the body. It's a biological state. And this can cause our blood pressure to start to normalize. Our heart rate variability, or the gap between the high and the low, that starts to go up, and then that is an indication that the nervous system is behaving better, it's more healthy, functioning better, and our resilience to stress comes way much higher, so we can bounce back from stress much easier. And interestingly, the inflammation of the body starts to go down when we breathe in this way, particularly over time. You'll see me instruct Sahil in this technique. It's very, very simple. It's this pattern where you're going to simply be breathing at between 5 and 6 breaths per minute. Now, there is some variation between individuals about exactly where in between 5 and 6, or between like 4 and 7 is the widest range, but to most people fit between around 5.5 breaths per minute. And there's a tone and video that you'll follow to follow along with and breathe at that rate. Now, to make it more effective, there's a few things. When you inhale, you want to be using your diaphragm as much as you can. So a way to use your diaphragm and not the muscles of your neck and shoulders is to, as you'll see, I will guide Sahil, is to place your one hand onto your belly and one hand onto your chest. And when you breathe in, that the lower hand should move up first and then the second hand move up second. So you breathe in and the lower hand is indicating that the diaphragm is flattening out, pressing down, moving the organs forward. And there's less action in the shoulders. And that's the inhale. When you breathe out, you want to try to breathe out and relax as much as you can. So I'll guide him to relax into the eyes, into the throat, into the diaphragm, into the pelvic floor. Each time breathing out and letting go of tension. This is key. And then finally, you want to be breathing just as smoothly as you can. So let your inhale flow into the exhale and your exhale flow into the inhale. It's like a sine wave, just breathing very smoothly. So in this way, you're boosting your your parasympathetic nerve function. So you assist it by letting go of mental and physical tension as you exhale. If you can, pause the video now and measure your own blood pressure and then follow along and then test it at the end to see how well that this technique works for you. Let's begin.
I've been on a high blood pressure medication for about 3 years now.
And you did some aerobic exercise kind of stuff?
I did some aerobic exercises, and perhaps that did affect a little bit, but we checked it over a few months and it was maybe coming down a little bit but going back up, and on the average it was still on the higher side. I don't know how easy it is to come off, but if something like this can help.
When you don't take the medication?
Take the medication, the numbers are about 135 to 145 on the higher side.
What we're going to do is we're going to test your blood pressure now. You didn't take your blood pressure medication. You know what to do with this. Okay, so we got 148 over 109. So you can follow visually if you like. As you inhale, the bar is going down, and as you exhale, the bar is going up. Right.
What was it before? 140...
8 and 109.
148, 109. So it's 137 over 111.
11 points in just a few minutes is
quite a lot.
Quite a lot. I mean, to do this, I would usually have to exercise for about an hour.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
So you, I don't know about you. I'd rather breathe for 5 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you feel? It's interesting to notice the change in the blood pressure. He has typically a higher diastolic blood pressure rate, although the systolic rate is typically high. And you'll see that, of course, that the number dropped by quite a bit to the amount that would usually occur if he was doing vigorous aerobic exercise for an hour. So, you know, what would you rather do? Would you rather do a breathing practice for a few minutes, or would you rather do some aerobic exercise? I know what I prefer. Now, I'd love it if you drop a comment in the box below and let me know how this practice felt, and if you measured your blood pressure, was there a change from before to afterwards? And going forwards, if you'd like, I have a brilliant, beautiful course on resonance rate breathing, which goes much more deeply into this topic and how to use this technique with a little bit more nuance so that you can increase the effects that you're experiencing. So, thanks so much for watching. I'll leave a link for that in the description below. Have a great day.